Taping or recording.
Aren't we so cute?
Ew, it tastes like cheese. Hi, Josh. How you doing?
Because it's your birthday. Am I allowed to cuddle?
Yes, you're allowed to cuddle. Move over so I can cuddle with you.
Come here, you.
Nobody's coming over there because you're a dick and you wouldn't say hi to the camera for me.
Corey, read this email, please.
No.
Read it to me.
Hey guys, it's Blaize, and just like yesterday, please excuse me if this video comes out a little weird or if there are some hiccups in it. Like I said, I have a new video editor that I purchased, and it's a lot more in-depth than the one that I used for free before. Sorry, trying to get everything in its place. A place for everything and everything in its place. So today is April 30th, right? Yeah, I'm good. April 30th, 2016. Every year, for the past now 8 years, I have posted on social media lots of sad stuff about my fiance who passed away very tragically on May 1st, 2015. One of my very first videos I ever posted on this channel was a very detailed and in-depth, but not full detail because some things are not for the public, but mostly explaining the tragedy that went behind his death. I will link that video in the description bar below so you guys can understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about. But this year I decided, you know, everything that's been happening, not just with my health and everything, but I also just lost a boyfriend of 6 years, of somebody who I was best friends with for over 7 years in September. So instead of doing something sad this year, I wanted to do something happy, or not, I mean just something more on a positive note for CORY, who was my fiance, who passed away, and tomorrow will mark the date of 8 years since he tragically passed away. So what I wanted to do with more an upbeat kind of thing, I'm actually still very, very sick, so I am trying my very hardest to be myself as much as I can. He would be beyond proud of me with, you know I have less than 200 subscribers at the moment, but that would not have made a difference to him. If he saw that I found something that I was passionate about and something that I was succeeding in, he would just be so proud. So, and same goes with Michael. But this day is about CORY, so this video will be entitled 10 Things I Love About You, and basically just saying the top 10 things that I loved about CORY. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's do with number 10. He gave me strength. As you all know, I suffer from the most extreme kind of panic attack and anxiety disorders that there are on the planet. And I have since I was about 6 or 7 years old. And when I was with CORY, he gave me so much strength and so much will to do things that I thought I could never do. Even simple things as like eating out at a restaurant. Like, I couldn't do it, but if I was with CORY, I absolutely could. And I did, and I enjoyed it. He got me out of the house. He helped me through my panic attacks. He gave me strength. He was actually, I call him my king or my savior, because he actually saved me from a over 2 year long insanely abusive relationship, which I'm not going to get into, but he was the only person who was able to get me out of that, and I will be forever grateful for that. Number 9, his people skills. Corey, I mean, and I was his assistant, once you met him, you were like just drawn to him, and his way of presenting himself with people. He spoke, I just, did the noting, and I stood by him and everything, like next to him. He did speaks at colleges for religious tolerance. He did speaks at halls. I mean, he just was so amazing people-wise and business-wise. He was just so smart in that way, and that was a very attractive quality. Number 8, the love that he had for his family. He took care of his parents, not the other way around. Corey was sick, he had epilepsy, so his parents, he lived in the basement of his parents' home, so it was kind of like our little apartment, but his parents still lived there because he was not really allowed to be alone, because he had grand mal seizures. So, but his parents, of course, they did take care of him when that kind of episode would show up, but he took care of his parents. They were when they weren't well themselves, I'm not going to go into any further detail about that, but he took such good care of his family, and he took such good care of me, and he cared so much about his loved ones, and that, again, is a very attractive quality. Number 7, his work ethic. Corey was one of those people who he had to have a job all of the time, no matter what. So he had jobs where he was managers, and he was a manager at Staples, or even if he had to be a gas attendant, he would make that job work for him and make it look like he was a millionaire, and he would excel at that job. He always had to be working. He was a workaholic, and any job, be it small or large, he excelled at it, and he was just so he needed to work. He needed to show people that, yeah, he had an illness, but that wasn't going to hold him back. He loved to work. Number 6, his intelligence. Corey was probably, out of all my boyfriends, the most intelligent one I've ever been with. He was not just a boyfriend, he was not just a fiance, he was not just a best friend. He was also a teacher to me. He was a huge leader in the pagan community, especially in New Jersey. If you are in New Jersey and part of the pagan community, you know the name Corey Hyman. And if you don't, you're like living under a rock. So, he knew so much about so many different things, especially spiritual wise. He was the most spiritual person I have ever met in my entire life. And he was just, his intelligence just blew like off of him. It was just so, usually I feel, because of my first serious relationship where it was abusive, the name that I was called every single day, multiple times a day, was stupid. So I usually feel now in relationships that I have to be the smarter person in the relationship, or the more intelligent person in the relationship. But with Corey, he challenged me, and he was just so brilliant in so many different spiritual aspects, where you were just like in awe watching him and listening to him speak. So that was just so attractive to me. Number 5, his sense of humor. To me, if you don't have a sense of humor, we cannot date, we cannot be friends or anything. I love people with a good sense of humor, and he had an amazing sense of humor. He was always laughing. We were always laughing together. You know, even though he was sick, he would make jokes about it, and I told him I didn't like it when he joked about his illness because one day it was going to kill him, and inevitably it did. But in his life, at least he was able to laugh at it, and he had an amazing sense of humor. I don't know how much more detail I can go into that, but he loved Henry Rollins, so you know he's got a good sense of humor. Number 4, his hygiene. Cory smelled beautifully all of the time. He got up, he set an alarm in the morning, and it annoyed the hell out of me. I actually have the alarm clock because I just have so many memories with an alarm clock. Yeah, I do. He set an alarm clock for him to wake up to brush his teeth, then he would come back to sleep, then he would set another alarm clock to brush his teeth again, get into the shower, and then he'd be like ready to go. He'd put on his cologne, which was Cool Water, which I actually was one of the items I was allowed to keep, was his cologne, because I love the way it smells, and when I smell it, I just feel like he is in the room with me. And his hygiene, his appearance was very, very important to him, like extremely important to him. And his hygiene was just on track. His breath always smelled beautiful, his hair always smelled beautiful, his skin always smelled beautiful. So I loved his hygiene. Number 3, his hair, and I will insert a couple pictures of him in this video if I can. He had short, dark hair, and he used to use spiking gel to spike it up, and I used to love just running my fingers through it and doing it myself. He used to let me pluck his eyebrows because, like I said, appearance was very, very important to him. And his hair, I loved playing with his hair. And to help him go to sleep, he would always request that I would rub his arm hair to make him go to sleep. And as soon as I would start doing that, bam, he was out like a light. So I loved his hair. Number 2 is gonna sound weird, but his ego. His ego was way too large for this world. He was in love with himself. The way he held himself and his confidence was nothing like I'd ever seen before in a person, and I haven't seen since. He held himself so well that just if he could have been physically the ugliest person in the world, which he was nowhere near, he was gorgeous, but just the way he carried himself and how much he cared about how people saw him, the way he was, it just, you couldn't help but fall in love with him and find him to be so beautiful. So his ego, even though it got on my nerves so much all of the time, he wouldn't be Cory without it. And his ego is kind of one of the things that drew me to him. So, and number 1, finally, and I know I've mentioned this before, when I first met him, I sent my mother a text message because it was literally, for both of us, love at first sight. And I never ever believed that that was a real thing until I met Cory. And the first thing that I saw was his eyes. They were a piercing, beautiful green color. And it's very rare that he would have a green color because I believe both of his parents, no, his mother had blue eyes, his father had brown eyes. So he had green eyes. But they were so unbelievably beautiful. And again, I'll insert pictures of him in this video if I can. And I sent my mother a text message the first second I laid eyes on him, and we smiled at each other. And I sent my mother a message saying, "Mom, I'm in love with this guy. His eyes are amazingly beautiful." And there is a quote, which I won't use directly because, you know, but whatever. But in The Tudors, the show, when they're talking about Anne Boleyn's eyes, they say they're like hooks for the soul. There is something deep and dangerous in them. And that explains Cory's eyes to the core, to the T. I mean, they were hooks for the soul, and they really were. They were gorgeous, and he was gorgeous, and that was like, all I had to do was look into his eyes and I was hooked. So those were the top 10 things that I love about Corey. He was my first true love and will always be my first true love. I have so much to thank him for, and I do, and I talk to him every single day. I miss him every single day, and it's weird because last year on the 7-year anniversary, it was kind of hard because it was my first anniversary where I was in a new state and I didn't really know what to do or where anything was. But one of the main reasons why I was happy I was moving is because I went to so many places with him, and I had so many memories with him in New Jersey that there was like, I couldn't pass a Wendy's, I couldn't pass a diner, I couldn't pass anything, a Staples, anything that reminded me of him. So when I came out here and I got a new scenery of things, it really did help. But last year on the anniversary, I took it kind of hard the week before and the day of, and that's usually the way it goes. But then in September, the beginning of September, like September 1st, September 2nd, I did make a very short video on here saying that I was starting to come to terms with his death and it wasn't really depressing me as much as it used to. And then literally a week later, Michael died. So it was kind of like a cosmic joke of some kind. But this isn't about Michael. This is Corey's day. Corey, if you are listening, you know that I love you like so incredibly much, and how much I miss you and how much I need your guidance. And I want to thank you for everything that you gave me in the short while that we were together. The knowledge that you gave me, the love that you gave me, everything that you gave me, the confidence at the time that you gave me. And I really hope that wherever you are, your parents are by your side. And I promised that I wouldn't make this sad, that I would make this a happier occasion. And please don't ever leave my side. I need you there to be my rock. I need you there. You're my soulmate. I love you so, so very much. So that's it for this video. If you want to leave any questions or comments down below, leave them in the comments below. Please try to be, I'm going to ask just with this video, please try to be discreet if it is, I'm not looking for pity at all or anything like that. If you want to send your condolences, that's fine, but I don't want to, oh, poor Blaize, oh, poor thing. No, it's 8 years now. This is about him, not about me. So, don't forget to go over here. I never remember where. I think it's here. To go and click on my face or press the subscribe button to subscribe now. I've always got beauty-related giveaways, contests, and raffles going on, all free, all of the time. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias. I'm always taking video requests. And until next time, peace, love, and stay